Hello all, welcome to Up the Poshcast, the Poshcast made by the fans for the fans. Grab yourself a drink, put your feet up and listen in. And by the way, there could be some strong language.
Hello everybody. Welcome to Poshcast Live here after Derby Day. We said we'd be doing a live again at some point. We didn't realise it would be just, 2 or 3 days after the last one. But after an incredible Derby Day we had today, we felt we had to come on and celebrate with everybody. Get your thoughts in on the comments on both YouTube and Twitter, or use hashtag Poshcast Live to ask your questions or share some opinions, or just to show how happy you are after such a special Derby day. It was an unbelievable atmosphere at London Road. I'm sure we'll touch on all of the different aspects, but I'll throw to you first, Ash. What was your summary of the game as a whole?
Well, we recorded on Thursday night, went live on Thursday night, and I just wanted to go back through the Cambridge team, because there were 22 players on the pitch today, but apparently this Kachunga and Lundulu and Njoku did play, despite our lack of knowledge. Liam Bennett was absolutely dog shite, as expected, but that is what I'm talking about. 5-star performance from everybody on the pitch. You can't really ask for much more. I didn't think that it would get any better than last year, and 5-0, but I think that 6-1 tops that, doesn't it? It was relentless from basically the 20th minute. From the minute we scored, we didn't really look back, did we? And just a joy to watch again.
Yeah, it was that sort of special day feel. You don't get them often as a Peterborough United fan, but when they come, they are unbelievable. I thought the same as you, Ash. All of the players were absolutely excellent. We'll touch on individual performers in a bit, but yeah, as a team unit, it was such a good performance, such a brave performance. After a very rocky first 15 minutes, we seemed to come back. It was an absolutely excellent day at the office by all accounts.
Superb. I actually think it was my minute sort of Team G me up that got it going. Now, joking apart, how good was that? You know, we always said the first 15, 20 minutes is always a little bit iffy, but I thought it was fucking phenomenal. You know, I thought some of our build-up play was excellent. Some of our goals were just superb. You know, I ain't going to mention individual players as yet, but some of the sort of touches, some of the passing out to the wings, it was just it was a joy to watch. I was thoroughly entertained, and excuse me, and there was a little bit of shitassery from Ricky. We thought got stuck in a little bit, you know, when he got his card, which was nice, you know, sticking out for his mate Malik, who got took out. How that one a yellow card, I don't know, but then he's sort of taken a player out, took the card for it, you know, celebrating in front of the away end. Superb. It was you know what? I actually enjoyed that more than the 5-0 last year. Obviously, maybe because we scored the 6, but fantastic. How good was that? You know, what a great day out. it's always nice when the away fans start leaving before half time because they're shit. And Cambridge, they were fucking shit. They weren't just shit. They was awful. Absolutely atrocious. How have they kept? Is it 4 clean sheets on the spin? 5, was it? Fucking hell. Fuck knows, But superb. I really, really enjoyed that. Great day out. What can you say? Everybody got behind, like I said the other day, get behind from the left to the right, to the family stand, the main stand, the sponsors lounge. Everybody played their part today. And, days like today don't come around very often. They don't generally, do they? And it's nice for everybody to make the most of it. So, superb. I'm well chuffed. And I've got a bit of a sore throat because I don't normally sing at games, but I was giving it a bit of the large one. So, yeah, all good. All good.
Yeah, Jesus, what a performance. I don't think I've ever seen a performance as dominant as that. I know we conceded, and I know that the first sort of 10, 15 minutes weren't exactly dominant from us, but we were just all over them, weren't we? We were just playing through them every time we had the ball. We were 5-0 up and just playing around the back, and they weren't even attempting to press us. I think a lot of it is that we were really good, but they were so bad, even worse than they were last year. And yeah, we said on Thursday night about how the occasion, you take form out of the equation, and we gave a performance that was better than last season. We had a 5-0 last season and a 6-1 this season, and you can look back in 30 years' time at the fixtures, and you can see these two back-to-back home wins against our local rivals, and they'll just sit there forever now. We had the bragging rights. No matter what happens this season, we could have 10 years in League One, but on paper we beat them by 5 goals 2 seasons in a row, and to me that is just excellent for a Posh fan.
Yeah, Cambridge fans must have some serious issues now. I'm sure Cambridge's therapists are going to be clogged up for weeks talking about that game because it was just a demolition. I think the thing that best summed it up was just the chanting from the GH. It's happened again, Cambridge, because I don't understand how you can go to your biggest rivals and lose by 5 goals 2 years in a row. It is unbelievable. I don't know how physically it can happen, because surely last year would have been a rocket and they would have been, right, guys, we know we can't capitulate again this year. We know we can't, we know how bad it was last year. It effectively lost Mark Bonner his job last year. We can't go back there. We can't go back there. And then they did that performance. In their biggest game of the season was unbelievable. I think they'll probably go down without much of a fight. They're definitely... It's at the point in the season now where it's very clear who the very bad teams in this division are, and it is so easily Cambridge that are one of them.
Yeah, it's interesting you say about the rocket going up their arse from last year's result. I was driving Max back after the game, and he was watching a Cambridge player give an interview before the game. I don't know who it was, but they asked him. They said, "Do you want to get revenge after last year?" And he said, no. He said, the players are different. The players are different for Cambridge. The players are different for Posh. No one cares. And I just thought, that's a loser's mentality right there. The fans were there, regardless of whether the players were there or not. You'd want to do it for the fans, surely.
Yeah, I just think that it was. I just think that it was appalling from them pre-match, during the game. After the game as well, I just think it was entirely terrible from all moments on the pitch, and you have to realize that they came up quickly last year, they came up quickly this year, and that first 20-25 minutes we had to survive, and we did, and it was really good. After that, we got the first goal, and then all of a sudden we were 4-0 up at half time. My legs are cut to smithereens. I'm battered, but it was a great day. And I think one person to thank for it being such a great day was Kwame Poku. Again, he's shown why he's the back-to-back Sky Bet League One Player of the Month, and he's on to win it again, which is crazy to even say. The fact, and I've said it before, I've said it multiple times. We have the best player in this league playing football for us. And priority number one, speaking past the Cambridge game, looking on to January, has to be to keep him here. He is absolutely phenomenal. And today he showed that class. He taught every single Cambridge defender and the two defensive midfielders completely a new one, had them on skates all game. And, you know, he scored from distance. He scored in the box. He assisted. You know, it's one of those games where you just look and you've got to admire. And Efron Mason-Clark had those games last season where, you know, he just take games by the scruff of the neck and control and dominate. And that was, you know, Kwame Poku at his best. And you cannot replace that at all. It feels just completely irreplaceable.
Do you know what? I'm thinking about this now and thinking that is this possibly the best pre-transfer performance from a player that we've seen and sort of like consistently? Like Efron Mason-Clark was fantastic last season, but he wasn't putting in the numbers that Poku is this season. I don't think that I've seen anything like this before. I'm sure that somebody will jog my memory if they can, but it's sort of like it's a banker. I feel like every time he cuts in, every time he moves the ball across, it's going to be a goal or it's going to be assist. I'm just baffled at how good somebody can be. And obviously there was bids. We know that there was bids. Fergie said it before and that he had his head sort of turned a little bit. But to come back from that and to put in the performances that we've seen for 3 months now is just sensational. There's only 3 league games, like Max says, this season. The November Player of the Month is Kwame Poku's. It's done already. They may as well not bother putting the voting in. He only needs to score a goal in each of the other 2 games, and then he's got it, and then he becomes the first player to go back to back to back. It's just simply baffling, if you ask me.
Yeah, he was just insane, wasn't he? He seems to be getting better and better. We were calling him a moments player, weren't we, a few weeks ago, that he only just sort of popped up with important goals, but today he was just completely unplayable. And I know it is only Cambridge and they're rubbish, but he's obviously showing his quality. And like Ashley said, he is playing for a move, whether we like it or not. He's not going to sign a new deal with us. I just wonder, there's obviously a number that we would accept if someone bid in January. I'd like to know what that number is. I believe we're going to get some compensation for him in the summer when he does go for free anyway. Maybe that's around $1 million. I'm not sure. But I mean, if someone comes in for a $2.5 million bid, $3 million bid in January, it's possible the way he's playing at the moment. Would we accept it? Would we potentially ruin our chances of making the playoffs or even automatics by letting him go in January? It's very similar to the Dembele situation, isn't it? I think the only difference is that Dembele gave the impression he didn't want to be here, whereas I don't think Poku does. I think he's happy to just see out the season and whatever happens, happens.
I just want to say about Poku, whatever, he has been very, very good. You know, no doubt about it. It's great to see him score a hat-trick. And I think all this talk about will he go in the January, will he not? End of the day, we know what happens. We are Peterborough United. You know, if somebody wants him and they're going to pay the right money, they'll take it. You know, we'll move on. That's life. We have to accept that. We haven't got a choice. And all this about, shall we keep him in case we get to the playoffs? We have to cut our losses because it don't normally happen when we get to the, you know, we don't normally go all the way. So if he wants to stay, excellent. I don't know, is he into his last year of his contract or has he still got another year or so? This is his last bit, is it? So if an offer comes in, it'll be going in January. No ifs, buts and maybes about it. Absolutely no chance. So I think we just make the most of seeing him until January, enjoy him. And, you know, as Ash said, it would be great to see, it'd be great to see a back-to-back for the League One, which has never happened before. So, you know, he was superb today. And, you know, kudos to the bloke. He has been very good the last few games.
Yeah, it is a spectacle to watch when Kwame Poku's in full flow. It felt like today was the game this season where we really needed him to step up. And we needed a lot of our seasoned professionals to step up today. And I'd like to bring the conversation on to another one of them, and that's Joel Randall. It's very easy to criticise Joel Randall at the best of times. It's become even easier this season with the whole debacle with him wanting to leave and blah, 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 blah. But today he was absolutely sensational. when you talk about players taking the game by the scruff of the neck, it was the quality of Poku that was one of the big things, but it was just the presence of Randall in the game that really struck me. Felt like he was getting the ball pretty much every 2 touches. He was so influential in the way we played. Some of the runs he made, the Cambridge backline just absolutely did not know what to do when he was getting in behind, when he was dropping short and taking the ball on the half turn. He was just opening the game up completely. Some of the passes he played, his weight of pass, his skills, that dummy for the goal. I could talk on and on about Joel Randall today. It was an absolutely sensational performance from start to finish. Yeah, that was Joel Randall at his best. We need to start getting that every week now. He's one of our big players. Now he's signed this new contract. But Joel Randall is today was unbelievable. So good.
He was. I said in the cast the other night when we went live was, he's either going to get bullied or if he has the space, he's going to have an outstanding game. He had the space that was given to him. I thought he was, again, probably one of the best games that he's played. Just his vision, his touches, his playoff, and he was chasing back and sort of like pressing from the back. That's the sort of thing we want to see from our players week in, week out. It was good. So there's no excuses now moving forward because, start of the season we was a bit iffy. As the weeks have gone on, we've seen things from different players and it's like been fucking excellent. It's been really good, and today proved that if we all sort of click at the same time, we've got a chance of ending the season well. We've still got a long way to go, but there are signs that we are a very, very good team. Joe Randall, though, I criticise him. We all give him a load of shit when it's due, but today I think we can only give him the applause that he deserves because he was very, very good. So well done, Joe Randall.
It's Joel Randall, by the way, Dale, not Joe.
I said fucking Joel.
No, you've been calling him Joe for weeks now.
So why have you waited until today to say it?
Well, to be honest, you get so many players' names wrong. I think that one was quite low down in the list because at least you got 3 of the letters right.
I even thought I was saying it right. I'll go on mute.
Fleetwood Zach's just said that Randall got a 6.8 on Flash Score. We were talking just before we went live about the ratings on these apps and how stupid they are. So he definitely wasn't a 6.8. I agree with what you've both said. He was great today. I did say as well last week, the times we have criticised him is probably where he's gone missing and he hasn't showed that quality that he has where he can recycle the ball at pace. I know that the groans that he often gets inside the ground when he's playing is where he's misplaced a pass or where he's tried to do something that looks like he's performing some sort of unnecessary skill, like a back heel or like a no-look pass. And I don't think that's him trying to show off. I think that's just him trying to get rid of the ball as quickly as possible. And with the no-look thing, I think it's more to do with the training that Fergie gives them, where he says it's all repetitive. They do the same thing in training all the time. And I think Joel Randall is so integral to that. And he's passing the ball where the players are in training because that's where they should be. So when he plays one of them passes without looking and it goes just absolutely no one and everyone groans, I don't think that's Joel Randall's fault. I think that's whoever the player is that he's passing to that isn't there. But that didn't happen today. All the passes that he was playing, the player was there. And it goes back to what we were saying about our front four. When the front four are all on form, when they're all doing what they should be, they are unplayable. And we should just outscore everyone. That if all 4 of them are on form, it doesn't matter what our defence do. We're just going to win the game.
No, I do think that's probably the important thing when we talk about ratings and apps that give players ratings, our own ratings. I think that the important thing is that to appreciate Joel Randall, you have to watch Joel Randall. And you can only watch Joel Randall. You can't watch anything else. You just have to watch him, watch where he goes. And when you've got these people putting in their ratings for the apps, they are watching the game and they're watching the ball. And as much as it pains me to say it, the stuff that he does and when he does it properly is absolutely fantastic. And I can't see how he now drops out of the team ultimately. The calls for Con Clark are probably well in the water now, and he will probably have to get his game time in bits and parts. But yeah, Joel Randall was great today, wasn't he?
Yeah, and I'm really happy that he's continuing this run that he's been on, and on, you know, the main criticism has been his inconsistency, I think, from a lot of members, and obviously that inconsistency is something that is improved, and I don't think anybody here can sit here and say that the inconsistency issue is as prevalent as it was. I think he's had a really good run of games. He's on a really good run of form. I've just got a little sort of like peeve. It's you know, in the ground today in the GH, people still moaning at Randall when Randall wasn't even on the ball, and I think it's because and Della's mentioned this a lot as well. Is you're not going to get a physical, throw yourself about sort of player with Randall. He's not going to be physical. He's not going to get into people. He's going to press the ball. He's going to run at players, and he's going to cause problems and force mistakes. And that's what Randall does, and that's how he plays. When people are groaning at him in the ground for absolutely no reason, the ball wasn't even going to him, and somebody was moaning at him. And I said in the ground, you know, how is that Randall's fault? And there was no answer. But it's just an annoyance of mine that he does get scapegoated quite a lot of the time, I feel, in the ground. And when you want to moan at a player, he's very easy to moan at. And I don't think. I thought he had an excellent game today from minute one to you know, the end, and I just feel that should be appreciated, and also for his confidence as well. It must be doing him wonders, considering he's on this excellent run of form.
Yeah, I agree. Randall is never going to be that sort of physical, throw himself about player, but I tell you who is that sort of physical, throw himself about player, and that is Ricky-Jade Jones, who once again left absolutely nothing out there on that pitch today. I just love the bloke. He is unbelievable. He just knows what the fans need. You know, whether that was him doing the big fist pumps in front of the GH at the end of the game, or whether that was, you know, him going up and telling the Cambridge fans that they stink after the 5th goal, and just actually throughout the game. He was unbelievable today. He got his goal, which was so deserved. He got the opener, which is arguably the most important goal of the game. Came at a time where we really needed someone to just stick the ball in the back of the net because we were under a bit of pressure. He did it. The running he did was superb. He had any of the centre halves he faced on absolute toast. He's going to make us a lot of money. He is a great footballer. This is his season alongside Poku. This is his season to really break through. He's been unbelievable, and I think I'll throw it to you, Ash, because you are one of the most notorious and long-term Ricky-Jade Jones advocates. What did you think of his display?
Electric, wasn't it? You can't think of a time that he picks up the ball and don't think he's going to make something for himself. Running past defenders, Cambridge, they tried to sort of dominate and move him around and whatnot, but he was just absolutely unstoppable as well. Doesn't always get the rewards of goals and assists, but my goodness, does he contribute to this team fantastically. I don't see, again, it's another one, isn't it? Like, it's so disappointing how all these teams are ticking together. With 31 goals in the league now. Are we going to have a squad left after January? Because everybody's going to come hunting, aren't they? And then we're going to be back to square one unless some absolute magic happens. But you can't, I've said it before, you can't ask for much more now. Everybody that was hating Ricky last season, they've all shut their mouths now, haven't they? Even some like prime candidates on Twitter have managed to even say well done to him. So I can't ask for much more. I've said it all along. Absolutely fantastic.
I mentioned earlier on the podcast, priority number 1 is trying to make this man stay in January. I think priority number 2 is seeing if we can even tie Ricky, keep him here. Is the big thing. I think today he was the second best player on the pitch behind Poku. I also thought he was amazing. And what Ricky is really good at is just running. It is such a vital part of the game. It's just running, and like Joel Randall, not to the same degree, but he will press and press and press, and his press is relentless. And that press causes so many problems, and it stretches the pitch. So the defenders have no room. When you see just this steam train storming towards the ball, there's nothing you can do about it, and that's what makes him so good. So if we can keep him for this season, and hopefully we don't lose our two best players in January, I'll be really, really happy. But I feel like it's an inevitability, considering how good these players are playing at the moment.
Yeah, excuse me, you've a bit of a sore throat. Too much saying, but no, Ricky. I was one of the sort of ones that was like, oh, Ricky shit, he's not this, he's never going to be a footballer, whatever. Oh, fucking hell, he has been getting better and better week in, week out this season. And yet again today, outstanding. His pressing, his chasing, obviously he scored, which is great. But I think I already alluded to earlier in the show is, getting stuck in, that's what we want from fans. I said the other day, get stuck in, show what we're all about, show the passion, and sticking up for his mate. Malik got fucking fouled, and then Ricky's there, and Ricky's taking a player out, taking a hit, and it's super. It was a booking all day long, and sometimes you don't mind taking them, and then just he feels like he knew what the derby was all about, and that's what all you want. You just want your players on derby day to accept that, yeah, you know what? Forget everything. We may be, I don't know, halfway in the league. We could be top. We could be bottom. It don't matter. We go out and we fucking give everything we can. And that's what we did. And to be fair, that's what sort of, I think Ricky led from example on that. That he led by example, I should say. And yeah, so well done, mate. Well done.
I wouldn't say criticise Ricky, but I did point out that his relentless pressing and his running isn't something that he can maintain over 90 minutes. And I know he got substituted at the end of the game today, didn't he? But he was still doing that press after the 60th minute, well into like the final third of the game. That's incredible, absolutely incredible. And he's going to be a massive miss in January if he does go. I don't think Mothersille can do the same job that Ricky does in terms of pressing. So our only hope is this new striker, Gustav Lindgren. If he can do the same thing, I don't know anything about him. Otherwise, it might be a case of trying to get Mothersille to play the same way, or we might just have to adapt. Because we were bringing off Ricky before, weren't we, and putting Mothersille up top. But the last few games, it feels like we haven't done that, and we are starting to find that form and that momentum now. Which we did this time last season as well. So it will be a massive miss to see Ricky go. Like Max said, Poku as well, but Ricky especially, because I think that will change the whole style of play that we have if we're relying on Mothersille to play up front.
I think that's a little bit harsh. I think that people forget how quick Malik Mothersille actually is, and he only needs to be trained into playing that sort of system and playing that position to sort of get it. Yes, of course, he's not going to ever match what Ricky can do pace-wise, but Mothersille is pretty pacey, and he's also a lot better with the ball at his feet. When we think about today, he's sitting defenders down. He's got his name on the score sheet again. Yes, it's a penalty, but you still have to put the ball in the back of the net. I am so excited for sort of the next 2 months and just seeing how many goals we can score. Like, you don't ever feel like you're going to be bored, do you, when you turn up to a posh match? Even when we played at Bolton and we didn't score, it was still a very exciting game, despite it being a 1-0 loss. And to come up against your rivals again and score 6 goals this time round is just simply sensational.
Yeah. Malik was really good today. Malik is inconsistent. But I actually really like Malik. I've only ever really had one gripe at Malik, and I think that was, I can't even remember what game that was after, but he missed a big chance. And I said that he needed to start performing more consistently. He's getting there. I thought today he was absolutely sensational. I praised him in a tweet, which he then replied to laughing at, which, that's a different matter. But I do really think Malik was great today. He was very quick. He was skillful. He had, fullbacks on absolute toast. I think I said to Lods at the game, I wonder how many times this season Malik has put the ball across the face of goal and it's not been tapped in. It feels like it's happened quite a few times. It's agonizing. It's absolutely agonizing when it happens. But he did it again today, at least once, maybe more than once. He is really good. He's developing. I think, it was the right call from Fergie to start him over Ado today. I think Ado may have had an impact on the game, but Malik's sort of physicality and it's just his sheer pace and just how much of a strong presence he is and how much of a threat he is was so beneficial to us today on the left-hand side. And when Ricky got out wide, Malik dropped in and played up front. He was excellent today. And as much as, he seems to dislike me, I'm a big fan of Malik. I think he's got that aura that we need out on that left-hand side. And yeah, I think if he can start performing like he did today on a weekly basis alongside Poku on the other side, we will have a wing partnership that surpasses that of Mason Clark and Poku last season.
Yeah, I don't want it to come across that I think he's a bad player. I just don't think he has the same qualities that Ricky does. I think he does a lot of things better than what Ricky does. I think he is actually probably more suited on the wing. I don't think I said that at the beginning of the season, but what he's been doing to fullbacks in the last month or so is something that we weren't doing before on that side before we moved him out there. Ricky's one that likes to kick the ball forward and run onto it because he knows he's going to outpace everyone. Malik is relying purely on his technical ability, which is probably something that Ricky doesn't do as much. I do think it will change our system if we are relying on Malik to play up front on his own, and I don't want to change him playing on the left-hand side. That was the point that I was making there. He was really good today. I 100% agree with you, Charlie, with the balls he's putting into the box. This is probably all things we're working on as well. It's the speed of when he gets the ball to how quickly he can do the defender, get to the byline and get that ball across is really good. I think that's probably better than what Mason Clark was often holding onto the ball a bit too long, sometimes cutting inside. I've noticed Mothersille likes to go straight to the byline and then put the ball in. And I think it's probably something that Ricky and Poku aren't normally alert to. But if you watched, it was the first 2 goals today, they both went in for the balls from the left-hand side. I know it wasn't Mothersille on either of the assists, but there were similar sort of balls across the box that Charlie was on about there. So hopefully we can carry on with that.
No, I thought Mothersille very, very good today. And what you just said there, I think he is a better footballer than Ricky, if I'm honest. You can see by some of his technical side of his game. And what I like about Malik at the moment is he's not scared to run at people or run through people. How many times does he go through 2 or 3 players at the same time, defenders, which is great to see. When I say go through, not in a gay way, seriously, right? Stop taking the piss. So, he likes to go through 2 or 3 players at a time. And, it's been superb. So also what I would like to see is, did anybody just notice how much Ash was sort of really being, friendly about Malik? He had one little conversation in the sponsors lounge and there he is, his best mates and everything. So
I was being Philippe, leave me alone.
Oh, sorry, my mistake. So no, he was fair play. We cannot criticise any players today. I thought everybody was superb, very, very good. But actually going off on the topic really quickly, who was officially announced as man of the match today? I did actually genuinely miss it.
Poku.
Was he? Okay, fair enough. But no, Mothersille, superb. Ricky, superb. If they carry on that way, then we've got an exciting second half of the season and end of the first half of the season to look forward to. So fair play. I do like him. Whether he likes Charlie or not is fucking irrelevant. If you don't like him, he's a fair judge of character, isn't he?
Yeah. Well. Listen, I don't think I did. I think it was just because what I said about him at the time was quite clippable, and it's clearly stuck with him. But if he's using it as motivation and it's fueling his performances, then fair play to him. He is more than happy to dislike me, and I'm just gonna have to accept that. We'll move on though to the midfield, because I think that was one area that we were so strong in today. And it's that Archie Collins and Ryan de Havilland partnership again. Archie Collins, we know what he brings, but Ryan de Havilland, since he came back from his injury, has just looked a different player. Looked unbelievable. So good. I know he's one that last season didn't kick on maybe like we would have liked him to, but he seems to now have learnt the system. He got his goal today, which I think he deserved. He was excellent. And him and Archie together are such a strong balance.
Yeah, absolutely. And when we think about sort of Archie Collins' performances, they've not been where they were last year, but they are now getting to that position, which is fantastic because he makes us tick. He covers people defensively. He moves the ball forwards. He moves it into his mate, Joel, and they work together well. And he is a key piece of the team. When we think about de Havilland, obviously very frustrating last year. He didn't really get many chances. When he did come in, it seemed to be that we would lose games because Cipriani was booked and he was covering injuries and all of that sort of stuff. But it's another fantastic second season Barnet signing. Jack Taylor kicked on in his second season. Ryan de Havilland is kicking on in his second season. And he's another one. He's very, very comfortable on the ball. And that's what we need, is that we need people that are happy to take it off the defence, happy to take it and move it backwards and recycle it. And now that I think that de Havilland is better at doing that than Hector is that gives Archie a little bit more freedom to move forwards, which is an absolute delight.
Yeah, the partnership between Archie Collins and Hector Cipriani last season was really, really good. Probably one of the best in the league. But the games that Cipriani's played this season, I don't think he's looked as good. Certainly not playing with the same urgency and speed that he was last season. When de Havilland came in, he seems to play a bit more risky, playing a bit more riskier passes, being a bit all over the place, running around. I don't think Cipriani was necessarily doing that in the games he was playing, and it might have just been unlucky. I don't think he played many games, did he, before he got injured? But his contract is also up in the summer, and if there's one player that we should be selling in January, it probably is him. It's a bit sad to say, but Brian Brady's done well when he's come in. De Havilland looks like he's ready to play regularly in the first team. And then we've also got Sissoko as well, who will get game time in the second half of the season. We've got 4 midfielders already there. I would cash in on Cipriani in January. I know he's our captain. I know he was great last season. But if he's not going to be signing a new deal, I think we should take the money and keep Ricky and Poku. If the money from that deal saves us from selling them, I think that will give us our best chances this season.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think de Havilland's shown that he can step up in the big games. I thought he was very good at Bolton, very good against Blackpool as well. I think he's shown that he can step up and he's developing really well. And another group of players that seem to be developing very well are the defenders. We were very close to keeping our first clean sheet of the season at Bolton. Didn't happen. We were again very close to keeping our first clean sheet of the season today. It didn't happen. I mean, is it ever going to happen? I'm sure there'll be very good odds on us not keeping a clean sheet for the entire season. But I think the two defenders, the two centre-halves today were magnificent. Max, give me your thoughts on Manny Fernandez, especially because it felt like a real leader's performance today.
Yeah, just touching on the clean sheet before I do. If we're going to score 5-6 goals a game, I don't mind not keeping a clean sheet this season. It keeps it entertaining. But I think Manny Fernandez has matured into such a brilliant player and a brilliant leader as well. Every time that I saw him on the pitch, especially Malik's penalty, he was commanding everyone around the box, where they should stand, when they should press. He is exactly what I want as a central defender. He is excellent. And I think also his dominance from corners today was utterly unbelievable. I don't think I've seen a better. There was 3 times on the bounce where he was on the floor, getting the ball for stopping a cross coming in. Then he was back up to stop the header, and then another corner came in, and he was the first to the ball. And it's just he throws himself at everything that comes his way. And look, say what you want about his playing out the back ability, which, by the way, I think has massively improved from where we were at Spalding away, massively. And he's just come on to be such an amazing footballer, and I'm really enjoying seeing his maturity, but also his leadership skills. Which, if you'd said to me, in pre-season, first game of the season, that are probably one of our best leaders on the pitch, if not the best, is Manny Fernandez, I probably would have disagreed with you or laughed. And he is just, honestly, that leadership element was it was something I wasn't expecting. But to have it is such a nice surprise, and I think is going to do us a world of good for the rest of the season, as long as that confidence and that characteristic stays.
Agree. And it wasn't that Cambridge were shy of attacking us in the first 25 minutes, was it either? I think that maybe they huffed and puffed a little bit too hard, and then they were probably blowing for the rest of the game, and they couldn't sort of catch up with themselves. But it was nice to see Manny sort of doing the standing on the ball thing. I'm not going to say that he did it to as much effect as the likes of George Nevitt and Ronnie Edwards would do, but he was drawing the Cambridge attackers in and trying to create space for his teammates. It appears like he has a fantastic relationship with both George Nevitt and Volin slipped straight back in. So you can't really ask for much more. They will be obviously devastated to have conceded today, because Cambridge were absolutely dog shite and did not really deserve to score. They've sort of taken one shot. It's like millimeters, isn't it? Is that if it goes to the left, then Bilo probably tips it around the post. If it goes further to the right, it bounces off of the post. But when we're talking about, like Matt says, corners, I don't really feel like we're going to concede from a corner at the moment. Manny takes a free roll. He wins absolutely every header. And then when we have other crosses coming into the box from different types of set pieces, Bilikapic is so dominant in the air at the moment. He is catching everything. He's plucking things out of the air, out of nowhere. And then to sort of wrap it round to the rest of the other 2 defenses, our right back and our left back, they look really keen to join in on the attacks at the moment, which is great to see, because like we've said before many a time, we are all about scoring goals. And if our left back is going to be putting balls across the box and our right back is going to be supporting Kwame Poku in Dornelli and Sparks, then really what more can we ask for? Cambridge really didn't offer a threat. I think that we were allowed a lot of extra space once they've sort of had their go for 20-25 minutes. But you can only play the team, and you can only beat the team in front of you. And when we think about across the pitch, it's very difficult to say that anybody put a foot wrong. One maybe slight clearance which is why they've scored, but at the end of the day, we were 5-0 up at the time, weren't we? And we've then gone and scored our 6th goal after that anyway, just to sort of bring the atmosphere back into all 4 sides of the stadium.
I just going to talk about the back 5 very, very quickly. Echo what you're saying about Bilo. He seems to have got that confidence at the moment, and he just doesn't look like he's going to concede unless it's from a fluke or something. But fair play to him, has been really good. Manny, as we've already alluded to, is this first name on the team sheet at the moment. Some great balls in from Sparks, and then Dornelli done what he had to do on the other side. But just, did anybody see Wallins sort of like last ditch sliding tackle on the edge of the area? Where it's like, oh my, what a tackle. That is like the tackle from an old days where he gets that a millimetre wrong, that's a penalty. But the thing is, he had the confidence to do it. He knew exactly what he was going to be doing, and ball's gone. Superb. Old-fashioned tackling. It's great to see. And for me, that's what I want to see my defenders doing. So overall, I can't find it. I'm not going to give any negatives about the team performance today, because I thought we were superb. What more can we say about the team? We won 6-1. It was fantastic.
Yeah, I completely echo what you said there, Dale. It was absolutely stupendous. What a performance. So we've spoken for 45 minutes about a lot of positives, and there were a lot of positives on the pitch, but there were a couple of negatives off it. I was in the GH display stand today, as were many other people. It was sold out, and the way it was stewarded, if that's a word, was nothing short of disgraceful. It absolutely completely ruined the build up to kickoff with the way that they were so insistent that people sit in their exact seat, to the point where they were moving people up a row 2 or 3 seats, literally moving them 2 or 3 seats along when there was a row of empty seats, just to be pedantic. They were completely unwilling to listen to any form of decency, any form of common sense. They seem to have been fallen hook, line and sinker for a couple of people saying they wanted to sit in their allocated seats. They were splitting up friend groups. They then completely lost control when the game actually started, and when when the ground actually got full. They were awful. They completely ruined the build up to the game for me up until kickoff, because I was just looking around and seeing people just getting hassled. They completely killed any atmosphere in the lead up to kickoff. They were like just abysmal. It's a football game. There can be people in the wrong seats. You can find a seat. There's plenty of them to go around. They were absolutely shocking.
Do you know what? I think that's really harsh, and I'm not going to say that the stewards at Peterborough United are fantastic. I'm not going to say that stewards across the country are fantastic, but at the end of the day, they are given a brief. They are told what their job is to do, and ultimately they were enforcing that job. I'm relatively sure that I saw a tweet from Chris Brewer that said that we can't sell 10% of the tickets in the GH because people can't be trusted to sit where they're meant to, which means that essentially we have empty seats because people can't be trusted. Everybody knows my thoughts. Yes, unreserved seating is fantastic, but if the stewards are told that they need to put people in the right place, we can't really have a moan at them for doing their job, ultimately.
I can. I think this is less of a individual attack on certain stewards. I'm not mentioning individuals here. I think what I am actually attacking is the approach that the stewards decided to take. And I think it was especially frustrated when you look to the main
That'll have
stand.
come from the club, by the way.
Then I'm attacking the club's approach, because when you look at the main stand and you see the Cambridge fans 3 to a seat at the top of the main stand, nobody in their allocated seats, they're meant to be the away fans, and then the home fans are getting chucked all over the place by stewards who were just completely heavy-handed. I think it's okay for people to want to sit in their seats. I completely get it. You pay for a seat, you select a seat, you get to sit in it. I'd personally like to see the GH become unallocated seating. I don't know whether that's feasible within the laws of the FA, but if it is, I think we should do it. It would save so much hassle. But also, I think that if an old couple come up and they say, I'd really like to sit in my seat, most people would move for them. That is the case. And if stewards get involved at that point, then yes. But the people that they were moving were young people who were happy to be in their seats. I saw somebody so my allocated seat was in the back row of E3. I saw them move somebody from my allocated seat, move somebody away from my allocated seat. I didn't want to sit there, so why were they doing it? I didn't want to come along. They just made an empty seat in the back row for no reason. There has to be some logic applied to this. There has to be some reason applied to this. I've never seen it like that ever before in any away end. Like, maybe I'm wrong, but I've never seen it where stewards are walking along every single row and asking for your ticket on multiple occasions. I was asked 3 times to show my ticket after I'd sat down in the ground today. It was a joke. It ruined the experience before kickoff. It was good that the football was good afterwards, because that fixed my mood. But if it was a bad game after that, I would have had an absolutely atrocious day. The stewarding was awful.
Yeah, and I think I agree with both of you, in fairness, on the stewarding. I was going to come on and rage at them, but actually Ashley has brought up a very good point, that they do have a job to do, and you have to look at it from that rationale. I think for me, to feel like you are treated like an away fan in and worse than any, as Charlie said, you know, if we were the away fans, that would be the worst sort of, everybody would have complained in the away end, and I think people are right to complain. I think there's a level of I wouldn't say childishness, but a level of, you know, coming across each individual row. Even during the game, they were sweeping across rows during the game. I couldn't understand it. You know, it to me, there's an element of you've done your job, you've tried your best. If people aren't going to listen, there's not a lot you can do. To continue to do it over and over and over and over again when people are still one to a seat. You know, where I was stood, I didn't really see it be more than one to a seat. To then come across into the more unpopulated areas and still move people down, you know, it just felt pedantic and a little bit power hungry, and I didn't like that. Considering, you know, we're meant to be the home fans and we're meant to be building up the atmosphere, we can't get a chant going and we can't enjoy ourselves because we've got stewards, you know, trying to get us into the correct seats. Regardless, you know, we're still in there, we're still in a seat, it's still one to a seat. That element of it, I don't see the problem with. When they're stacked up and there's more than one to a seat, I completely understand it. But I just felt like there was an element of, it just felt a little bit pedantic, I felt.
It may be. And like I said, at the end of the day, they are doing their job. They're given a directive. The counter argument is that stewards are probably the worst bunch of people. They are people that were bullied at school. They go to college, they go and get their little armband, and then they go, oh, I'm a steward, I can do what I want, I can move people out. So there's a right way and there's a wrong way to be a steward. And by the sounds of things, there were maybe people getting a little bit heavy-handed. But ultimately, if people want to avoid that, just sit where you buy your ticket. Buy your ticket early enough, like Charlie discussed, saying that we knew it was going to sell out in there. Buy a ticket early enough so that you don't have that issue and that you are in the place that you want to be. I would love to see the Proud to be Posh banners moved. I'd love for us to be able to sell all sort of close to 3,000 tickets in there, because I think that they would have sold today. But until fans show that they can do that, this is going to be the way that it is. And it will be one of the reasons that the club used to not open the GH permanently and not offer season tickets, is that Posh fans can't be trusted to behave themselves in that stand.
I think there's an easy solution to the issues we've spoken about there. Charlie mentioned having the whole stand unallocated. It doesn't need to be the whole stand. Just have E3 and E2 unallocated and have E4, 5 and 6 as allocated. If you want to sit in a seat and you want a specific seat, whether it's an aisle seat, a seat at the front, a seat at the back, whatever, pick them on the other side of the stand, because we've had multiple games with home fans in that stand now. We know the sort of fans that go in to E2 and E3. And that's not going to change. They're going to do that regardless. And it happened again today. I walked in and they tried to put me in my seat, and we all bought our tickets at different times because they were on a priority point system. We can't all buy them at the same time unless we've all got the same amount of points, right? So I wanted to stand at the back like all the other kids. And unfortunately, the steward that I walked past was one of those that was quite rightly doing his job. The club asked him to make sure that everyone was in their specific seat, and he did that. But the 30 fans that were already at the back of the stand had walked past other stewards who hadn't done that. And I think my issue is the inconsistencies with how strict the stewards are. There was nothing rude about the way that the steward that dealt with me. It was nice. I was nice back. We had multiple discussions. But I did point out to him that he was the only one doing it, and all the rest of them were letting him down because he was working to a different standard to what they were. I think my biggest disappointment for the whole day was the minute silence, or probably more specifically the build up to the minute silence, because the minute silence is supposed to be after the bugle, and we didn't get that far. So there were some fans that were chanting in the concourse of the GH stand. They came in late. I think they were probably a little bit intoxicated. And they were singing, and it echoed through the concourse, and it did sound like it was coming from the GH. And I think because of that, a lot of fans started shushing, assuming that the fans were in the stand singing, which wasn't the case. And then because that didn't stop, some people then decided to shout to try and get them to stop. To me, I don't think the shushing was on. It's borderline. But to shout during that was probably inappropriate. I don't think it's the fans' fault coming into the ground. They wouldn't have known it's the minute silence. A lot of people say they should have known the time, but everyone's been drunk at a football game, right? And they've walked in and they've not clock watched, so they've not gone, oh, we better be quiet on our entrance to the ground here. No one's thinking that. Going back to the stewards, I think I would have just liked them to have dealt with that situation a bit better, and probably could have avoided what happened, which was the Cambridge fans singing about us being scum for not observing the minute silence. We didn't get to the minute silence. The referee blew his whistle for the minute silence, and everyone got confused and then started singing, thinking the minute silence had ended, when that was actually the whistle to start it. You could watch the Cambridge players. They all left the centre circle, got told to go back. It was just an absolute complete mess that could have been avoided completely if the stewards were just in the concourse telling those fans just to be quiet themselves, rather than posh fans thinking that was the right time to shout for them to shut up, because it clearly wasn't, and that's I think what caused the issues.
Yeah, I think it takes a certain type of person to scream "shut up" at a group of supporters. When, first of all, I think actually when the screams of "shut up" came from those fans, the fans in the concourse had already quietened down, so it felt like it was just complete attention seeking from whoever did it. They wanted to act the tough guy, be the guy that was defending, the minute silence, just ended up ruining it for everyone. So whoever did that, I hope you're pleased with yourself. It was a complete mess. I think the accusations that are being lobbied at us, calling us scum from Cambridge fans, is quite unfair. I think it was just a really unlucky sequence of events. I think it was just really unfortunate, and that was it. And I was really sad. I love the minute silence. I think it's a really beautiful moment. I think it's a moment where you can have time to really reflect. Makes you realise that things are bigger than football, and that then the referee's whistle goes and you roar, and that sort of signifies the start of the football game. I was really disappointed with how it played out. I think Cambridge fans solely blaming posh fans are misguided. I think them deciding to sing that we are scum when it was clear on the pitch that the players were trying to reset and restart the minute silence was just as culpable as any action of a posh fan. I hope it's something we learn from, something we go again. We're not a club that don't observe minute silence. I've been there in the past. We had one last year at the same game and it was impeccably observed. Bolton away, Newport away, we had them. They were impeccably observed. It wasn't some sort of weird political statement like some people are trying to make out. It was just, a really unfortunate sequence of events. And I was devastated when it happened, and it was a bit of a damp start to the day. But I think that there shouldn't be this sort of barrage of blame that is being thrown around.
Yeah, I'm with Charlie on the minute silence. It's one of I love the minute silence. I love the sort of the time to reflect, as you said. And it was a shame that what happened. And I think both sets of fans didn't help each other. It was quite disgusting, to be fair, and I was proper fucked off over it. But we'll move on from that. Going back to the stewards, excuse me. I've said in the past that, there's some decent team stewards out there. Newport last week were fantastic. Cardiff are very good. Port Vale were fucking awful. Peterborough, we generally, as a rule, I think our stewards are very poor. The way we steward our games is down the bottom. But having said all that down the GHN today, I think our fans have got to take a lot of responsibility, because we're saying about sitting in their own seats, and I know we've got like 10% reduction, but if Ash would probably seen it from where you sat in the main stand, and anybody who sat in the London right, well, any stand apart from DH, you could see there's a segregation there for a reason with the tarpaulin, or whatever you want to call it. That tarpaulin was pretty much like ripped to pieces by the looks of it, where everyone was like pushing across. Have respect, stay where you're meant to be, don't cross the border, and then we might, you fans in the GH might have a little bit more credit and a little bit more respect if, you didn't push your boundaries too much. So the stewards can be arsey, and it does piss you off when you've got to sit in your seat, you've got to sit in that. But until we start behaving ourselves, it's going to continue. And it is the same that happened in London Road when we first done the terracing. How strict were the stewards then about sitting in your own seats? They were proper strict about doing it. Now, if you go to London Road, then it's a little bit more lapsadaisy, because over a period of time, us fans learned that actually we're not going to get away with it. We need to behave ourselves. GH boys up there, boys, girls, mums, dads, whoever you are, need to start having a bit of respect for some of the rules. I get you all want to sit together, and that could be fine, but don't be pushing the fucking segregation all the way over there to cause grief for the stewards to get their backs up. Simple as that, in my opinion. But as a long shot, I don't think we've got the best stewards going.
No, and look, that's probably quite a negative way to leave it on on what was ultimately a really bloody fantastic day. I enjoyed myself from start to finish, and at the end of the day, Cambridge are shit. Cambridgeshire is blue. It's another embarrassment for those lot down the A14, and that's what's important, I think, from this. It's 6-1. It was 5-0 last year. We'll go to the Clydara shabby stadium, whatever it's called these days, and hopefully dick them in March or April, whenever it is next year. And long live the Cambridgeshire derby. It is the true derby, and today was another one of those fantastic days. You can add that into the 5-0. You can add that into the 4-0 versus Sheffield Wednesday. I have no complaints on today.
Yeah, it was an absolutely fantastic atmosphere. The fans were a complete 12th player. They were excellent. The atmosphere was excellent, and I was speaking purely about pre-game. Actually, during the game, the stewards were quite good. They had big smiles on their face. They were fist pumping, high fiving people as we left the ground. The mood was so high. It was a fantastic day, fantastic occasion. And if that is the only negative really to come out of it, and we had to touch on it because we had questions in the comments about it, but yeah, it was overall a fantastic day, and it sets up quite nicely a very difficult away game we have next week. Obviously, we do have to look forward slightly, and we've got Charlton away next week, a team under Nathan Jones who are slightly inconsistent. I believe they were beaten today by Exeter, so that they're not a team that are performing at the highest level. We've got some good news as well on the injury front coming into that game, because Darren Ferguson has intimated that Jadel Katongo might be able to return. Max, when he comes back, where do you see him fitting in?
Anywhere is the answer to that question. If it's midfield, right back, centre back, we've got a really versatile player in Katongo. Last season, it was a bit slow, but as in like learning how Darren Ferguson wanted to play that right back position, but when he got it nailed on, I thought it was excellent. And there was glimpses of that again this season, of that excellence that we saw. Now, obviously, he's been injured. I'm not expecting him to walk into the team, nor am I expecting him to start. But if we're going to build him back into this system, I do think we've got to experiment with where is he going to be played best, because I think his on the ball skill and his ability to step on the ball and bait the press, I think is really, really good. I think he understands how to play right back in the Darren Ferguson system. So that's also another massive positive. If we get an injury to Dornelli or Dornelli needs to come off early, we've got that option. Alternatively, if Darren Ferguson thinks Katongo should start over Dornelli, then I think that Katongo knows how to play. And centre mid, De Havilland gets a red or De Havilland gets injured, we've got a player who can play in midfield. So to have him back, versatility wise, I think is really important. For me, I think right back's definitely his best position. And it gives Dornelli a little bit of competition.
I don't think it'd be particularly fair to take Dornelli out until he does something properly wrong and drops a generational stinker. I know that we've not been the most complimentary of him, but sort of over the last 3 games, I think that he's been really strong and he's growing into that position. Obviously, Fergie made some comments, didn't he, after the Bolton game, like we've discussed before, whether they were true or not. JD's obviously taken that away and has worked on his fitness and is working on his 90-minute match playing. And I don't really think that he's been that disappointing. I think that Katongo will have to spend some time on the bench. I think that he's potentially going to be somebody that we can sub in, but he's not coming straight back into the starting 11. I don't think that.
Yeah, I agree. We've seemed to have turned a corner now. If you take the Bolton game out of it, we've scored 5 against Blackpool, 4 against Newport, 6 today. I'm missing one, aren't I? Which one am I missing? we're all showing a blank. Yeah,
Palace, Newport.
Yeah, Palace. We scored how many against Palace? 4 again. Yeah, so we're scoring lots of goals. We're now playing well, attacking consistently. I don't think we should change the team up now. I think we should just stick with this until, like Ashley said, someone has such a bad stinker, maybe over a couple of games that we have to bring in one of the sub players. And I think you throw James Donnelly into that mix as well. Ashley said we've been a bit critical of him. We have, but I don't think he deserves to be dropped. I've called for Sam Curtis to go back in January, and I think we should just keep playing James Donnelly until we feel like Katongo needs to come in. I wouldn't have him in the starting lineup. I think we're just playing too well.
Yeah, I agree. And it's actually at that nice point where after today's performance, it does feel like next Saturday's team picks itself, which is nice. It feels like we haven't really got a lot else to say on the Charlton game. It's a game that I'm sure, as Dan Ferguson will say, it takes care of itself. So we'll go on to the score predictions for the game. Get them in the comments as well. Let me know your score prediction. There's 760 of you in here across all the platforms, so I should be seeing loads of score predictions in these comments. Ash, you start off with your score prediction. What do you think it's going to be?
Well, it'd probably be wrong not to back goals galore, wouldn't it? I think that Matt Godden, will probably score a goal or two. So I'm going to go high scoring game 4-3. Let's have Ricky, Poku, Malik, and Joel Randall all to score a goal each.
I really don't know, to be fair. That's if the game goes ahead anyway, because there is a potential that it may be called off at the last minute. But I'm going to go, if it happens, I'm going to go 4-4. 4-4. What can I say?
I like Roscoe's prediction, 7-4. Sorry, I hate giving predictions. There will be a lot of goals. I rate what Ashley said there. I think if we just carry on this momentum, I think all 4 of them could get a goal. I actually think Chris Clark will be due a goal off of the bench at some point. So it'd be nice for him to get a good half an hour and have a few shots. Maybe we'll see him on the score sheet.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with my head, and I'm gonna say probably a 2-2 draw. I think it's probably gonna sort of be. I think we haven't had the best record. Well, I don't think we have the best record on the road at the moment, so it will be an interesting game. But if I was going to go with my heart, Rosvo, I'm with you. 4-7. I like that prediction. Poku to score 6, and Bilo to score a pen.
Yeah, I think we'll win. I think we've got momentum now. I think this could be the start of a really good run going into the Christmas period. I don't think Charlton are that good. I'll go 2-1. Yeah, I'll go 2-1 Posh. And before we wrap up, has anybody got any other business that they feel needs to be discussed?
Yeah, well, firstly, I'm getting absolute pelters. It's not all you can eat in the hospitality. Thank you very much. And if anything, I've already written a complaint because the portions weren't anywhere near big enough. The food fantastic. The portion size absolutely horrid. And I would also like to finish this week's episode on what is quite possibly the worst joke I have ever come across in my life from Scotty. And it goes, what does Cambridge and a sick bird have in common? Sick swan. And on that bombshell, Desco. I like it. Desco.
Right, yeah. That was what a song that is. I feel like we probably need to change the words given the fact that the Desco is not actually called the Desco anymore. I would suggest maybe Fergie Ball or East Stand or something along those lines. I think we could definitely get a posh away going on Saturday at Charlton. Copy our friends from Wales. But yeah, other than that, there's very little else to talk about. So what a day it was for Peterborough United. One of the great days. Cambridgeshire very much remains blue. We put that beyond any doubt. Another win by a 5-goal margin. So yeah, thank you very much for watching this episode of Up the Poshcast. Yeah, Up the Poshcast.
Up the Poshcast.
Ross Fowen on the sidelines can go and fuck themselves, but Up the Posh.
I love